Ooh. 안녕하세요. I hope you're having a great day. Today, I want to share with you what I think is a hidden gem in upstate New York. I've never heard of the Finger Lakes before until my friend recommended it to me for our trip through the US, and today, I want to recommend this place for you too. Even if you've heard of the Finger Lakes before, you might be able to find something new in this video for you. The Finger Lakes are located to the west of central New York State. The lakes were carved by ancient glaciers, and because of the sloping landscape and the local climate effects of these lakes, this region is an ideal place to grow grapes, aka wine. And if you like wine, you're gonna like this video, so don't forget to hit that like button. It'll really help us out. Now back to the video. The first thing you're gonna notice when you drive through this area is the beauty of the scenery. The rolling hills, winding roads, rivers and waterfalls, and lush foliage. And we came in the middle of autumn, so it was mwah. So if you're an outdoor person, I think you're gonna love it here. But even if you're not, I still think you're gonna love it here because it's the largest wine region in New York State. There are a lot of accommodations for you to choose from budget friendly to very luxurious, and there are a lot that are on or part of a winery. We stayed at the inn at Glenora Wine Cellars, which is located next to Seneca Lake, and the first floor rooms open out towards the lake and their vineyards, which we are free to walk around in. It came with complimentary wine, and the wine tasting room was just next door. Super convenient. This place had options for the more budget-friendly side, and we thought it was great. They do have more luxurious options, such as a personal whirlpool or a personal cottage. So you have a lot of options at this place, but also a lot of places around the area. There are a lot of places for you to go hiking, but a great place to go if it's your first time is Watkins Glen State Park, which has a lot of trails for you to choose from. Now joining us today as special guests are my parents.
Hi.
Hi. That's Mom, Kim, Dad, Richard. So if you're coming to the wine country here in New York, you gotta check out Watkins State Park because it has a gorge trail and a really beautiful waterfall called Rainbow Falls that we're here to check out. Okay, well, because of the heavy rains the last couple of days, the trail is closed because it's too dangerous. The last waterfall is right next to here, so you'll see why. And this is why. So the trail actually gets you pretty close to the waterfalls up ahead, and it's too dangerous to be walking along that trail. So there's actually two other trails that go parallel with this one. You're just a little bit further away, so we're gonna do that trail instead, but this And here we are at Rainbow Falls. Normally we'd be at the gorge trail, we'd be under this, and we'll be looking at the waterfall from the bottom up. This place is definitely a must-see if you're coming here through wine country, especially in the middle of autumn. The leaves are perfect color of orange, red, yellow, and greens. Now, we recommend that you come to this hiking trail, that you do it in the morning because of the morning air, sunlight, and also we have the rest of the afternoon to do wine tasting now. Huh? If you're not staying at a place with a restaurant that has a lakeside view, there are a lot of options in small towns around the lakes. And a great tip that we learned is that unless you have a great outdoor seating right next to the lake, then we would recommend that you eat at a nearby place and then go to the lake for a nice stroll. A lot of the places around the lake, you're really paying a premium for the view. Now, for our favorite part of the trip and why you're probably here for this video, the wine. We were only really able to spend 2 days here at the Finger Lakes, and we really wish we stayed longer. We visited 2 wineries for wine tasting, Heron Hill Winery and Glenora Wine Cellars. Heron Hill Winery was kind enough to give us a private tour of the winemaking process, and we learned so much about wine that we never knew before. The first place we're doing wine tasting is called Heron Hill Wineries, and this is what we're greeted with.
We'll kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be tasting and what the background of all of this is. They opened this in 1977. Now here in the Finger Lakes, there's over 170 different wineries. But the grape that started it all for us in the Finger Lakes was Riesling. So we do make a lot of Rieslings here, a lot of different styles of Riesling. So this is a really nice embodiment of a dry Riesling. You can have very elegant notes of minerality, and then softly in the background, you're gonna get nice fresh fruits. So now we do have a couple selections of cheeses here today. We feature all local products. Definitely try the wine first, then have some cheese and try the wine again, and you'll see how it changes.
Cheers.
Ooh.
Ooh. Do you like it?
Yeah.
So now that I had the cheese, oh,
오, 더 달콤해졌다.
I think you're right, honey. I think it tastes a little sweeter now. 能記乜路切計歪啦？哦，路好都好啊。
The next one we're going to try is now a single estate, and this is the vineyard that now the majority of the vines in this are almost 50 years old. At 50 years old, the vines pull more up from the earth. They get more nutrition into the grapes. They get a totally different flavor profile than vines that are younger. For your next wine, folks, we're going to be doing semi-dry Riesling, because semi-dry combines that wonderful, luscious, sweet fruit with a big, bright, acidic finish, and that citrus cleanses your palate. Basically, the wine is always making you ready for your next sip of wine.
Ooh.
We try the three different way. I love the third one, the big one.
I just found out it's my parents' first time doing wine tasting. Wine tasting.
First time?
What? I didn't know that. For a long time, my mom couldn't drink at all, and my dad doesn't really drink. I can see why. Wow, first time. Am I the best son?
So this one is our Engel Vineyard, much more old world style Pinot Noir. We actually aged this for 18 months in a new oak barrel. That French oak imparts that wonderful vanilla and cedar spiciness to the wine.
Oh, it smells lovely. Mom doesn't like it, but Chloe likes it.
Cheese.
Now we're trying the cheese that's for red wine. Mmm. Whoa.
Wow.
Okay, they are spot on with the cheese and wine pairing. Oh my goodness. Look like that, look like that.
치즈랑 먹으니까 너무 맛있네요. 너무 바빠. I'm drunk.
Really?
네.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get really drunk. I'm drinking everyone's leftover wine.
나 이거.
Okay, oh my goodness. I haven't thrown out any of the wine yet, but I might have to soon. Because I've been drinking most of mom and dad's wines now because they can't drink so much, right? And Chloe's not helping me.
And this is one of our Bordeaux blends, Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, and we're doing a very rich, full-bodied blend. So you get stronger, darker red fruit flavor. On the nose, smells of saddle leather and tobacco-y raisin. So this sits on the grape skins much longer. That grape skin, it gives us those nice dry feeling, that sort of like puckery feeling. So it's a really good wine for things that are very rich. Any sort of stew or ribeye steaks that have a nice sort of rich fat quality to them.
Smell it. Smells great. Ooh. Ooh, no, I like this one.
맛있다.
Yeah. So this is Old Man's Cheddar, Sharp Cheddar, Old Man Sharp Cheddar. That's the name of this cheese. I'm pretty sure it's not made from an old man or by an old man. Well, maybe it's made by an old man. This and the cheese go really well together. Yeah, she's making a TikTok video. So follow us on TikTok. Same handle. Hi, Dave and Chloe.
This is Blaufränkisch. Blaufränkisch is a really unique grape in that it has a very strong cherry note to it. And then it's paired up with this very bright, dry, big, thick-skinned tannin. So the wine is very, very dry, but it's also very juicy at the same time. So that
Ooh. Oh, yeah, smells like cherries. Oh, very cherry. Cheers. Oh, shoot, I like this one too.
야, 끝맛이 되게 부드러우면서 끝맛이 되게 달콤하다, 맞지? 이거 괜찮은 것 같아.
We are drinking a Moscato now, a little sweeter. My mom would love this. They basically force inject the bubbles in here versus natural fermentation that creates the bubbles. But doing it this way, it preserves the originality of the wine. And that means that we're getting brighter, fruitier flavors versus something that's more naturally fermented to create that carbonation. Here you go, honey.
Thank you.
Mom and dad, you should take it easy. I've drank the most wine, but I think my mom is drunker than me. She hasn't drank very much. I've seen her drink. She's been giving most of hers. It's just that for a long time she couldn't drink any alcohol. I mean, a little sip and she's it's like a glass for me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow. Oh yeah, this is my mom's favorite. And now we're gonna go on a tour around Heron Hill Winery to learn about their method and philosophy on winemaking. And we're joined with Jordan. Jordan, what's your main role here?
I'm the winemaker here.
Awesome.
So, that sounds like it's a really cool role, but it just typically means we clean stuff. Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, winemaking, there's different types of winemaking. The winemaking that we really want to do is try to be as, hands off and let the grapes speak as much as possible on their own. And that just means having a, clean environment in which they're going through. But, obviously it's shuffling things around. We got barrels all over the place and racking and pressing, and it's busy. But my role is to maintain the cellar and get things in bottle, and then people that are a lot smarter than me can go and sell it.
The wines that we had though, just if people were to taste it, I think they would sell on its own.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I mean,
it.
it's a labor of love. I mean, we love doing what we do, and it's, we have great fruit. You have grapefruit, makes my life a whole lot easier. But we'll take a brief little walk down here, and hopefully we don't get sprayed by anything. And the other room is where most of the fermentations are actually happening, because it has, well, you can see there's ice on the one tank there.
Oh yeah.
So the tanks that have kind of ripples around them or dots, they have what's called cooling jackets, and all the ones in the other room have those. And so what it is essentially we can cool the tanks, because fermentation creates a lot of warmth, but you want to have cooler fermentation so that you can preserve those aromatics. So we just cool the tank.
So are most of the wine or all the wine like cold temperature fermentation, or is there any wines
Most
you do
of the
here that's
white
hot?
wines are, most of the red wines are fairly warm. So cooler fermentations will preserve aromatics and fresh acidity. Warm fermentations will give more body and weight. When the fruit comes in, it goes through that stemmer over there. It'll go into a pump. If it's white grapes, they'll go into this press here at that time. And essentially inside there's like a big balloon. And they go over some holes which will block the skins from falling out.
Oh.
When it pushes the juice through there, then we can take the juice into here. For red wines, it'll go directly from the destemmer into a tank because they ferment on their skin. Then once they're done, then they will go into the press. For white wine, you typically don't use the skin, and rosé you don't. If you're thinking about rosé is made typically from red grapes. And the reason why it's not very dark is because you take it away from its skins either right away or very early on. So all of the color that is in red wine is all from the skin.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's definitely something new to me.
Yeah.
I always thought rose was a mix.
No.
Oh.
There are places that'll do what they call blush, or sometimes they call it where they blend it, but no, it's supposed to be red grapes. They just don't less time on the skins.
I'm learning so much today. I love it. What makes this region like special for winemaking? Like, what is specific about this region in terms of like maybe the climate, the soil?
The lakes. These lakes, they moderate the valleys that are going down towards the lake. Particularly in the winter, it would get too cold without them. But because of those lakes, it'll kind of keep the temperatures within check here so that we can keep those varieties. Because those varieties are a little bit more sensitive. The fact that those lakes exist is really what helps us. But it helps moderate the temperature in the summer as well, where you get like those hot peaks. It'll kind of cool it down. Without the lakes, this industry doesn't exist here. As soon as you're outside of the valleys of the lakes, vinifera disappears, which are like the classic wine grape varieties.
Actually, I'm really curious about this. Are winemaking grapes like grapes that you actually can eat also, or are they actually very different?
There's a lot of seeds in them. They tend to be smaller. They're really sweet. They're delicious.
Like, so this harvest, right?
Yep.
Basically, today's the last day, which is kind of cool that we're here on the last day for the grape harvesting. How long does it take to get this harvest out to, like, what's your first bottle of wine that would be ready to go and the last bottle from this harvest?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of funny. So the first bottle will come from some of the last harvesting. There's a couple of the red grapes that we picked will be going towards rosé, and that will be the first stuff bottled. So from now until bottle is going to be, what is it today? So it'll be 2.5 months, whereas some of the other varieties, those will be 2 years, roughly.
Oh, it takes,
Yeah.
oh wow, why does it take that long?
So with rosé, we just want to preserve fresh fruit, essentially. So we want to do a nice, cool fermentation, but as soon as that fermentation is done, filter it, bottle it, you're done. Nothing to do. Whereas the reds, they'll spend a longer time. They sit on their skins, then we press, then it goes through what's called malolactic fermentation, which is just transitioning malic acid, which is the main acid in, say, Granny Smith apples that is really tart. It turns it into lactic acid, so very soft. But then it'll also go in barrel, and it sits in barrel for about 18 months. And the reason that you do that is those tannins, the really gripping part to those red wine, they're really, really gripping right now. So, I mean, they're not really enjoyable to drink directly out of the fermentation. So when you put them in barrel, it's porous, so that little bit of oxygen helps to soften out those tannins and round out the wine.
Oh, so is that why, like, when some people open the red wines, like, oh, let it breathe, gives that oxygen?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat, but so that oxygen will also just help to release some of the aromatics early on.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've always been a fan of just pouring it in my glass, and it'll start to get some oxygen while I drink my glass. And I like, it does change things, no question. But I like to watch that progression in my glass, so I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is the same sort of idea. It's just softening the wine out by sitting in barrels.
So what's the vision for Heron Hill?
That's largely driven by John, the owner, and essentially he wants to be a benchmark for the region. So he wants to have some of the best Riesling in America. Vision is to, sustainably and ideally organically grow fabulous fruits, mess with it as little as possible, but make, some benchmark Riesling, Pinot Noir, Blanc Frankish, Cabernet Franc.
Thank you so much, for showing us around and explaining all these things. I've learned, and we've learned so much.
All right, cool.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan.
Thank you so much.
We learned so much about the winemaking process that we never knew about, and it really gave us a new appreciation on wine. And I hope that shortened interview has helped you learn more about wine that you never knew before either. And if you want to see the extended interview with Jordan at Heron Hill Winery, then I'll put a link here and in the description so you can check out the extended interview if you're curious. After Heron Hill Winery, we went back to our place that we were staying at Glenora Wine Cellars. This is another tip that I would give, is that end your day at the wine tasting room at the place you're staying if you're staying at a winery like we were. Then you don't need a designated driver, you can do the wine tasting and everyone can just walk back to their accommodations. So that's really convenient. If you've never done wine tasting before, it's gonna be very similar to what you just saw at Heron Hill Winery. Someone's gonna be giving you a set of wines. Sometimes you can choose from a list. So we had a different flight of wines versus my parents. Someone will be there to explain to you all the different wines. So at Glenora Wine Cellars, they had a huge variety of wine selections. So here are the recommended wines that we liked after the wine tasting that we purchased. Obviously, everyone's taste profile is going to be different, so go ahead and do the wine tasting and get whatever you like, but these are the ones that we wound up getting. We ended up getting the Glenora Brut, the pineapple wine, so if you're a fan of sweet wines, those two are very good. The red wine that we picked up wound up being the Chase's Reserve, which they were doing in collaboration with a local dog shelter. Chloe and my favorite wine from the wine tasting at Glenora was the Moscato. That was our favorite from the bunch. And a final tip for you when you go to the Finger Lakes is make sure you have enough room in your car for all the wines that you're gonna wind up buying, because Chloe and I got some wine, my parents got some wine, and then we also bought a bunch to give as gifts to family and friends. Just come prepared and make sure you have room for the wine. We had a really full car on our way back home. We had a great trip to the Finger Lakes. I'm so happy that our friend recommended it to us because we had no idea about the Finger Lakes before this. And I really want to introduce it to you. So if you're in the neighborhood, you live around the area, and you've never been there before, we highly recommend that you go check it out. It's beautiful, the people are friendly, and of course, wine. So thank you so much for watching, for all the returning viewers, for all the new viewers. I hope this video was useful for you, informational, entertaining. So please hit the like button. It really helps us out with the algorithm so we can grow as a channel. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified when our next video is coming out. We'll see you next time. Annyeong. Just had the cheese, so let's see how the recommended cheese for white wines. I just had the recommended cheese for white wine. Let's see how that changes. You did too. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. So this red wine is made with grapes. I'm trying to remember what she said. Hold on. Okay. What was the word? So now we're gonna be going on a tour around. So now we're gonna go around. So now we're gonna go on a tour around Heron Hills. Honey, I'm a little buzzed. I think it's hard. All right, one more time.
Okay.
And now we're. Come on. We gotta get this one. We gotta get this in. We are here in the oldest wine region in the United States. Why? This is ridiculous.